anything we did in our entire time in United Council, so I do not believe that at this time, unless we completely refurbish it and do it ourselves, that it will be functional or a quality use of student money.
You, Chrissy? Go ahead, Mikey.
I don't believe I said rejoin United Council. I said if we're not going to be having a lobbying force, we need to be doing the work ourselves. We need to be down in Madison. We need to be talking to legislators. We need to know what's going on with our budget, and that's all.
Okay, I misperceived that by your statement.
All right, each person gets one rebuttal. Sorry about that. We'll go on to the next question then. Do you support or oppose the all-campus smoking ban? Please explain your stance. And I think we started with Phil last time. So Chrissy, you can go ahead and get started.
I think that the 25-foot rule is not necessarily implemented or enforced at all. I think that everyone is entitled to fresh air that doesn't smoke, and smokers shouldn't be denied their right to choose to smoke if they want to, but those two philosophies kind of contrast each other. So if we could do something like make UW Marathon County, I know, has a little smoking hut that's glassed in, and people could sit in there, and then they would avoid precipitation on their backpacks and laptops, etc., which they don't want to ruin, which is the reason why some people stand under a roof. And then it would be away from other individuals who need fresh air.
Thank you, Chrissy. We'll move on to Mikey then.
I absolutely agree with Chrissy on this one. I believe the smoking ban is a little out of question, but I do believe we need to do a better job of reinforcing the 25-foot rule. I've served out in numerous positions, like around the residence halls, whether it be summer camps and conferences or doing night security. And I mean, the students can only do so much to ask people to move away from the building. We're gonna have to work with housing collaboratively if we want to enforce it more. I believe there's some concerns is, people with their rooms right outside of that. And then, I mean, we're just gonna have to ask everyone as a whole to enforce the 25-foot rule, but I'm not supporting the full campus smoking ban.
Thank you. And Phil?
Same with me. I am not for the smoking ban. I just think it's something that's not possible to be enforced on a campus-wide level. Probably the biggest complaint I hear from students with smoking is walking to class behind a smoker. And if you look at where probably the majority of on-campus students live is North Campus, and walking to campus, that's all public land. The school would not even be able to enforce that even if the smoking ban was in place. Because the state law prohibits the school to have a policy. And it would, just like everyone has mentioned before, that it would all be on a volunteer basis. And if you look at Platteville, they implemented a smoking ban on their campus with a 25% of the students polled or voted on the referendum. And it started off well, but when the winter came, it just fell apart. And I just don't think it's what we need to focus on. I think we need to focus on the 25-foot rule, making sure that's in place, because no one likes to have smoke in their windows. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. All right, we'll move on to our next question then. How would you be a good motivator for the executives and senators, especially when people are not contributing equally? We'll start with Mikey on that one.
Well, most of my friends and colleagues that I've had throughout the years will not argue that I'm full of energy pretty much nonstop. You will not find me stopping or slowing down. I see some smiles around the room, and I appreciate that. Generally, I give it my all the time. I mean, sometimes people are going to have hard weeks, but you just got to, you can't let your attitude get down. You got to maintain a positive repertoire, per se. But yeah, you can't give up. You got to give it your all the time, and you got to understand sometimes you're in a situation where people won't, but don't slow you down.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and go with Phil.
I'm known as a very good motivator. One of my jobs, I was even called the motivator. A lot of my work history that I've done, that's just kind of what people see in me. That I'm always there for them, and that I'm always trying to do my best. Might it be in the Senate or even like athletics, even if it's not something I'm good at. I still always do my best. But I think in the Senate or when you're in a group, the best way to get people motivated is to give them responsibilities and to get them informed. Because when people aren't informed, they don't feel as though they're part of the group. And that's what needs to come across, is to get students informed. And one thing that I'm trying to do to get students more informed is work with StoutMedia to create a better connection to reach out to students. Students shouldn't need to come talk to SSA or find out what we are. We need to reach out to the students, and by using StoutMedia as a communication tool, I think we can motivate all the students on the campus.
Thanks, Phil. On to Chrissy then.
I think it is important to not single out individuals in front of a group of people. It's really disheartening, and I think when that type of behavior arises, it shuts people down completely. And I think that either bringing about ideas to influence people as a whole in the group, because you are as strong as your weakest member. When one person makes a mistake or it is at liberty of the whole group. It's not just that one person. And like they said about making sure that we bring forth open communication and keeping the students informed, and which also keeps us informed to make quality decisions.
Time.
Thank you, Chrissy. The next question would be, how will you make sure that the student voice is heard when it comes to the Memorial Student Center renovation? And to go along with that, what are your feelings about the administration denying a pub in the MSC? And I believe, sorry, no, I lost track of who's first. Is that you, Mikey? Or is it Chrissy? Let's go to start with Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy.
I think that we need to in an attempt to attract more students who stay here for longer instead of transfer out, we need to continuously update, but we need to keep in mind the financial situation as well. I think that we should update, but I do think that with the pub, I think it goes against the Chancellor's Coalition Against Alcohol, but I think that it would be a great way for students and faculty alike to, even if they're not drinking, to just sit and be calm and happy and communicate with each other in a setting that they wouldn't normally be in otherwise in the classroom.
Thank you, Chrissy. Go ahead, Mikey.
Can you repeat the question?
I will repeat the question. How will you make sure the student voice is heard when it comes to the Memorial Student Center renovation? And what are your feelings about administration denying a pub in the Memorial Student Center?
When it comes to the voice and the input of the Memorial Student Center, I mean, it's the student center. We need to make sure we're sitting on the committees that are working with the engineers. If it's not tailored to our needs, what's the point? We need rooms that we can work with. We need the office space for our student organizations. When it comes to the pub, it's sometimes you're going to get in a one-way battle with administration. You're going to duke it out with them, and sometimes you're going to lose. Sometimes you just got to deal with it.
All right, and Phil?
Currently, student voice on campus is with the MSC renovation. There is a committee that's formed, and I am on that committee currently. I have been working with Lucy. She's come to me and talked to me a little bit about some areas of the MSC. And I think it's very important that we do have student voice on there. And when I'm in this committee, if I were to become the president in my term, I would make sure that what is being discussed in the committee is translated down to the students, might it be via the Campus Life Today email, StoutMedia. Students need to know what's going on campus, and we need to hear their voices. And I would definitely make sure that the students understand what's going on with the renovation so that we can hear your voices in return. And although administration is not in favor of the pub, it was voted as the one thing that students definitely wanted to have in the MSC. And the renovation process is still going through currently. I'm still going to fight for that.
All right, thank you guys. The next question, how will you deal with the state budget cuts and make sure we avoid unnecessary expenditures? And I believe Mikey's up.
Well, as I previously stated, if we're not going to have a lobbying force down in Madison, we got to get down there and we got to lobby ourselves. I mean, it's a 3.5-hour drive. We got to deal with it. We'll get down there, we'll lobby. Additionally, Wisconsin's like 49th out of 50th over the past 5 years funding going to higher